Welcome to the Covered Podcast. I am your host, Mya-Karren, and on this show, we discuss women and how we are showing up in the world. Today's guest is Jeanette Davies, CEO of Ominera Naturals. Her company seeks to use tools and knowledge to grow healthy, long, and natural hair, and Ominera wants you to be proud of the hair that you were born with. Jeanette is a content creator, wife, mother, and a lover of Christ. Please welcome Jeanette Davies.
Thank you. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you so much for being here. Just like I was telling you before, I'm very excited because you are our first virtual guest and you are our first overseas guest. So thank you so much for doing this. And I just basically wanted to talk about your natural hair story. I love hearing how women come to this point. So let's just start from the beginning. When you were young, how were you wearing your hair and who was styling it?
Oh, so how young are we talking? Like fresh from the womb or like 5 years old, 10 years
I'd
old?
probably say about 5.
Yeah, so I think from what I can remember, from 5, I was still natural, but that was actually the year that my mum put a relaxer on my head. So if I'm honest, I don't actually remember my hair being natural. I've always only had memories of relaxed hair for as long as I can remember. So yeah, that's kind of how I wore it. And my mum styled it, of course, because low budget, didn't have money for stylists back then. But yeah, she would just style my hair in like those styles with like baubles and all. I'm gonna use UK terms because obviously I'm British, so hopefully they will translate well. But those like baubles, like the hairbands with the baubles at the end.
Yes, and they come in like different colors and blue and white
Yeah.
and rainbow. Yes.
So all of that. Of course, doing braids, like she would cornrow my hair from time to time, depending on how like much I would sit down.
Okay, so I remember in your natural hair story, you did speak about your mother saying that your natural hair was thick and unmanageable. Do
Yeah.
you think that played a part? Because it's almost in our community, it's almost like a rite of passage to get a relaxer. But do you
Yes.
think that was one of the reasons why she wanted to get one so that your hair would be more manageable?
Yes. I mean, bless my mum. She obviously had no knowledge and understanding of how to care for natural hair. So from her perspective, she just thought this is unmanageable and it's so hard to deal with. And I would always cry when she would comb my hair. She would say, so for her, she just thought everyone's doing it and it's gonna make life a bit easier. So let's just go about, do a relaxer. So yeah, that was kind of like where it started. She just didn't know how to deal with it and just thought this was like kind of the easy thing to do. And it was very popular, very common. We all grew
Yes.
up with relaxers. It wasn't a taboo. It was very normal. So I don't blame her. Maybe I would have done the same thing. Who knows?
Right. Back then, yes. So you
Yeah.
said you were about 5.
Yes, five
Do you
years.
remember? Okay.
Yeah.
I was about 9, so it was a little bit older,
Yeah.
but still very young. Okay.
Yeah.
So take us to the point, or take us when you were starting to style your own hair. What was that experience like?
Well, very tragic actually.
Okay.
There were instances where I would like try to like dye my hair like red. Like I've done some weird and wonderful things. I was always someone who liked to experiment. So I mean, I would straighten it all the time. It's funny because at the time people said I had long hair for a black girl, but it was so thin and so lifeless and probably came up to about hair. And all I had was like a little fringe, probably about the size of this. And that was like the majority of my hair. So considered long for a black girl. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I would just style it in just, obviously I would still do like protective styles. So I would still get my really bad wigs and braids, the bad wig, the braid, a PTSD, but yeah, the braids, the twists. We used to do this thing called pick and drop. I don't know if that's a US thing where you'd basically like braid it with like braiding hair and then you'd stop where your natural hair would stop and then the rest would just be the braiding hair. I don't know if that's a style that was popular where you were.
The wrong person to ask that. I've worn weave once in my life. I will never
Really?
do it again.
Okay,
So
blessed.
I'm the wrong person to ask. If you say it was popular,
It
I
was
have to
trending.
believe you.
So yeah, very tragic hairstyles. I would just go from one protective style to another. I'd have my relaxed hair out, but obviously I was just never really satisfied because I grew up in a predominantly white or Caucasian area. So the
Yes.
way that their hair flowed, I wanted my hair to flow, but it wasn't really flowing. It was just looking like this. Like it just, yeah, it wasn't moving. Now my camera's reacting. Yeah, like it was doing a lot of nothing. And it was very just thin, lifeless. yeah, I needed some TLC.
Take us to that moment, because I know when it comes to natural hair is a journey. And I think you said that you tried at least twice, or you tried it at least twice. Take us to the very first moment when you decided that you were going to go natural and you were just like, you know what? This is not working. What moment was that? Was there a specific experience? Did someone say something to you, or did you recognize it yourself?
You know, I love that question because it's really taken me back to some good old times when, the internet was just like this new thing that not many people knew about. So I think I kind of got into it because one of my friends from church, she decided to go natural. And I was like, I like this. This is very different. And I'm the kind of person where, like, if you tell me not to do something, I will just go and do it because I want to prove you wrong. Um, it was obviously just not a thing to have natural hair, but I just loved how my friend's hair looked. And then I really got into YouTube. Like, this is the era of like Chime Edwards. And I was like, wow, who is she? How does she have hair like this? I was like, is it possible for me? So I was like, well, let's just try it. So in 2011, I had my prom. I think you're probably familiar with that as well in the US. And
Yes.
I just had my last relaxer because I just thought, I don't want to go to prom looking like crazy because I don't even know how to style this thing. But I just had my last relaxer when I was about 15, 16 years old. And that was kind of the end of it. I'll tell you a bit more later about what happened. But yeah, it was around 15, 16. I just saw my friend and I also saw amazing women on YouTube and it just made me feel like, you know what? I want to try this. Like, why not?
So, question for you. You talked about being on YouTube University, and you saw this woman and you saw her beautiful hair. It was coiffed, it was beautiful. Do you think that while your mother was doing your hair, and even maybe when she was speaking about your hair and the fact that she gave you a relaxer at such a young age, do you think that changed your mindset when it came to your natural hair, or do you think it made up the attitudes or surrounding your natural hair?
Most definitely. Like it got to the point where even when like I was transitioning and everything like that, my mum would constantly ask me like, when are you going to do your hair?
Yes.
And this is me who's probably spent about 5 hours washing, detangling, styling my hair. And she would say, when are you going to do it? And I'm like, but it's already done. So I think, people in West Africa back in those times, like having natural hair was not a thing. So I don't blame her for her kind of like ideologies or standards of beauty, but she just didn't really promote natural hair. It wasn't a thing for her growing up. Everyone just had relaxed hair and it was neither here nor there. So I think it definitely shaped my view. But again, I'm the kind of person, like I'm quite tenacious. I'm like, oh, well, if you say I should get a relaxer, I'm not gonna get one because I don't feel like it. And I'm gonna just be a little bit rebellious just because.
So the first time when you were hopped on YouTube University and we just talked about the mindset, was it something that you had to, I guess I would say, overcome to even think about going natural because of the attitudes and the experiences when you were younger?
I would definitely say yes. I think the concept of just feeling beautiful, like feeling like I'm acceptable to walk outside with my hair like this, I had to really overcome that. But it actually took me quite a few years. I would just go, so I was going natural and I transitioned for about 3 years and I would just go back to back, wig, bad weave, and braids. Like I'm telling you now, I had a weave in at one point for 6 months. This is illegal.
For whatever reason, because it's beginning to pop up on my feed, that's a trend now.
Yeah, no.
Keeping in the braids and the wigs in for six
Yeah.
and nine. I even saw a young lady who did it for 12 months.
Whoa, okay, that's extreme. The new growth will be crazy, but girl, like, I mean, of course I did wash my hair in between, but I just didn't know what else to do. And
Okay.
my mom constantly asked me, like, when are you getting your hair done? So I'm like, okay, then I'll just get braids or whatever to please her because I'm still under your roof, right? So yeah, I bounced from protective style to protective style almost for 3 years straight to the point where I transitioned. So if anything, it literally took me 3 years to change my mindset about the standard of beauty through that period. So I don't think it was a one day thing. It was a 3 year journey of learning my hair. So whenever I would obviously take down the protective styles, I would dedicate that day to just my natural hair. I would give it so much TLC and I would just go on YouTube University and just get encouraged. And also my friend, she was also wearing her hair all the time in church. And I was like, oh, I can't wait for my hair to grow, as long as yours. And yeah, so that was kind of my journey. Yeah.
Outside of that, friends, and outside of your mother, because I know for me, and I know for some people, it's like this announcement that you're going natural or you're going back to natural. Once you started telling people outside of that friend and your mother, were there friends and family, were they supportive? Were they a little weary? Were they a little anxious? What was the reaction?
You know what? I actually don't think anyone really saw my hair for 3 years because
Okay.
I would literally take my protective style down and within like 2 or 3 days it was back. So people who weren't my family actually didn't see my hair, not until perhaps the latter stages where it was actually kind of long enough for me to style. So yeah, no one really had a thorough opinion just yet. But when I did eventually like cut all my ends off and like transition fully, I did get a lot of compliments on my hair. And that's kind of like where my YouTube journey started, really.
2016, we're all familiar with the silk presses. We all familiar with silk press season, but you had a heat error. Take
Yeah.
us through that and what happened.
Yeah, so as much as I thought that my mind had changed about, loving my natural hair and embracing it, I could still see that I wasn't 100% confident. So because I transitioned, like using wigs and weaves, I never really got to a point of being comfortable with my hair on a consistent basis. So I found that when I eventually transitioned fully, I then found myself basically trying to get my hair to look a certain type of way, which I thought was the epitome of beauty, straight hair. I don't think there was a month I didn't go without straightening my hair or at least blow drying it. I just went from straightening to straightening to straightening, straightening and curling. At some point, I even started to relax my edges. Like it was that bad because I just wanted my hair to look straight and not have the kink and the curl and the puffiness and no. I didn't want any of that. So it's like I wanted to be natural, but I didn't want to go the full step because it still wasn't a thing in 2016 to go out with your afro. Even in
Right.
2020, it wasn't even like something, it really has taken a while for that to kind of catch on. So yeah, I was obsessed with heat because I didn't like my hair and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to style it. And I just wasn't confident because I hadn't grown up even seeing my mother have natural hair. So I had no representation whatsoever besides that friend and YouTube.
And that's exactly what I was getting ready to ask you. Do you think outside of not feeling beautiful, and you just said it, that because you did not know how to care for your hair, because this is also a debate going on in the natural hair community, which they do call cult, but do you think part of the reason was because you really did not know how to care for your hair and you did not know how to style it? That way, when you were going out, when you were going to the special events, even maybe when you were in school or when you were showing up with their family members, do you think that played a role because you just simply were not sure what to do?
Yes, because I guess back then, like the looser curl patterns were very in, and you rarely saw people with type 4 hair. And my hair shrinks. I don't care what anyone says. I'm full Z, maybe full N for Nigerian. But I'm telling you now, like, I know people assume that my hair has this loose texture because they see it in its wet state. But when this baby dries, it shrinks up. Like, this is why I have to most likely like wear stretch styles because my hair, I get about 90% shrinkage. I'm not even joking.
I believe it. I wouldn't say mine is 90, but it's up there. I want to say like when my hair is, well, even just coming out of the shower, my hair, I'm at waist length right now. My hair is like right here. Like I can comb it and stretch it out, but when it curls back up, it's like right here.
Literally. So I
Yes.
just did not know what to do. So because I was obviously surrounded by other Caucasians, it was just a normal thing to have straight hair. And that's the only thing I knew from young that looked nice, straight hair. Not this afro big thing on my, nope, not defying gravity. Nope. It had to be straight and it had to have a little bit of flow. So yeah, it definitely like had an impact because I did not know what I was doing, quite frankly. I didn't even know how I still had hair at that point
Most
because
people don't.
because yeah, it was tragic. To way too much heat.
So then after that, and I believe you said that was around maybe like 2018, is that when you had to do your second journey, your second natural hair journey?
Yes. So about 2018, I said, you know what? This hair, it's not giving anything. It's just giving lifeless. Like I had just basically had my relaxer again back in those days. So I just said, you know what? There's no point hanging on to these dead ends. And I think at that point I had already started like making YouTube videos here and there. And when I bought like a new set of straighteners and they were much more powerful. And I was like, great, amazing. My hair is going to be even more sleek. But baby, the way my hair, It never reverted back. I'm like, wow.
You bought even stronger or
Yeah.
hotter
Yeah.
flat irons?
Because my hair was so resistant to straightening. Like no matter how many times I straightened it with my like little cheap straighteners, it still remained like resistant. It was like it's like my ancestors were shy. I don't know. It was my hair was just did not stay straight for a long period of time. So I thought, let me just invest in more like powerful ones, and then my hair just said absolutely not.
Shows, I guess you could say, how beholden you were to those beauty standards, or a beauty standard that really you would never be able to achieve. Do you think that we need to maybe change some of the verbiage and some of the words that we use surrounding or when we're talking about natural hair? Do you think that words have power? Do you think they matter?
Being a believer, I'm a Christian, so we already know the power of words because God created the world with his words. So I definitely believe that words can, bring life or death quite literally. So how we affirm ourselves and all these good things will dictate our mindset around our hair. Because I truly think like if you love something and you affirm it, you will look after it because
Yes.
it's connected in that way. So most definitely the way in which we speak about hair, because I get so many people who comment like in terms of like, wanting to grow their hair and all that good stuff. But the way they talk about their hair, I already know where their mind is at. And I can already see why they're not being able to achieve certain hair growth goals because they have this mindset that my hair doesn't grow nappy. What's the word? And in fact, I've actually been called my hair looks like a Brillo pad. And
I've
the thing,
never, I've never been, no one has ever, someone has never referred to my hair as a Brillo pad, but I've actually heard that quite often, unfortunately.
I did not know what a Brillo pad was, girl. I'm from the
You had to look
UK.
it up.
I had to Google that, and I had like a delayed reaction, but I didn't even give into it. So I was like, girl, bye.
But
But
you,
yeah,
but
most
you,
definitely.
but you know what though? In the beginning, especially when I started my natural hair journey and when I started posting content about my natural hair, in the beginning, I was upset. What do the kids say now? I wanted to gather them. I wanted to cuss them out. But now when I get comments like that, I try to give the person grace because
Mm,
there is something that was said to them, there was something that
yeah.
happened to them, or they were in an environment where they were told that their natural hair is not beautiful. Older, I try to give people grace and I try to understand. Commenting that they were not born like that. They were to them. It was taught to them. I did want to touch on one thing that you did say in your natural journey video. In the video, you said cut your hair when you are ready, not when others are ready for you to. Why did you say that?
Because girl, I was never ready. So I don't want to, tell people to do things that I wasn't ready for. And I think if you think about, for example, someone who has not had any representation about
Yes.
natural hair, they have no idea. They have to basically relearn a generation worth of self-love, which can take time. So I
Yes.
think we kind of need to give ourselves grace because it wasn't something that was taught to us. We have to learn it. And if that takes you 1 year, great. If it takes you 2 years, great. 3 years, it's just fine. So long as you're taking that journey towards loving your hair the way it was created and meant to thrive.
As far as natural hair is concerned, I have a question for you. The UK, you are based in London, correct?
Yes, yes.
Have you been to the States?
Not yet. I'm actually
Not
due
yet.
to go next month, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. You grew up in the States. Excuse me, you were raised in London?
Yes, born and
Okay.
raised. Yeah.
Based on your experience, is natural hair received better in the UK?
Now, yes.
Okay.
I went out to the city today and I couldn't even count how many natural hair girlies I saw. 10 years ago wouldn't have been a thing, but
Okay.
now it's becoming a lot more accepted in culture. People are realizing that it's actually okay to have frizzy hair. Our hair was supposed to be frizzy.
That's
It
what
doesn't have to be
it's
straight.
frizzy, it's curly, that's what it's gonna do.
It's gonna
I
do
don't
what it's
worry
gonna
about
do.
frizz.
So I think definitely nowadays it's becoming a lot more accepted because there's a lot more information out there as to how to look after your hair. And I think that was the gap that was missing. People obviously wanted to go natural, but they just didn't know how to. But obviously, I do think there is still a bit more work to be done because it's still very common to, if you meet 10 black girls, at least 7 of them will have a wig, weave, or braids, which is not a bad thing, but it just kind of shows the total, if you look at the total representation of natural hair,
Yes.
it's not as much as it should be, especially in like more publicized like media, celebrities, and most people revert to wigs and weaves. How many celebrities can we truly say, you know what, they're actually rocking their natural hair consistently? It doesn't really happen. So yeah, I think there's still more work to do, but it's something.
For social media, for socialites, and for celebrities who are local or who are just in the UK, you've noticed that as well. They kind of revert to the wigs and the weaves
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, unless they're a natural hair influencer like myself, they most likely have a wig or weave.
Texturism. We're all aware of what that is. I'm going to assume, and you can tell me, is texturism a thing in the UK?
1000%.
You just have to ask. I don't want to assume, but you do have to ask. Feel like the representation is getting better, or is there still a lot more work to do?
I think there is a lot more work to do, not even just in terms of representation, but the general culture around texture. Because whenever someone has long natural hair, people always assume it's because of the texture of their hair, not because of how they've looked after it. None of that. It's all to do with the texture. If someone's hair is long and thriving, it's purely because they have 4A or 3C or whatever it is hair. And that's it. Point blank, period. But yeah, most definitely. And in general, I mean, I can count, maybe there's like one or two like well-known 4C influencers that I know of in the UK. That's about it.
Are you including yourself in that, or those are two other?
Two others.
Okay.
I feel like I'm not even allowed to call myself 4C because I used to call my hair full ABC because I truly believed I had all the textures. It wasn't just one because you know already, like we don't just have one texture of hair. You have multiple and it changes over time, especially with the longer it gets. But yeah, I'm banned from calling my hair 4C because people will literally be like, "No, girl, you're 3C. I've been to your house. I've been to girl."
We don't even need to get into the whole 4C debate. If I was to call my 4C hair, they'd probably be outside my house with picket signs, and there's there's no need to get into that. But that was a great segue into the next question I wanted to ask you, because when it comes to this topic, I know it's a debate, but you and I mirror each other.
Mm,
Genetics.
yes, I love this. Do we have time for this?
We do, and we can spend as much time as we need to. This is always a hot topic. It's very controversial, and some people even get a little emotional.
Mm.
Do you believe, in your opinion, that genetics is the end all be all, or do you believe that it plays a major role?
I think it plays a role. I don't even think it plays a major role because I think when people use the genetics argument, it's very lazy, very, very lazy because it's been proven in general how people can have the exact same genetics. I'm talking identical twins, but if they live their lives very differently, they're going to look very different. So if that doesn't shout at you and scream, like it's not just your genetics, then I don't know what else I can say to you because yes, genetics play a part, but it's not everything. It's almost like saying, you know what? Like for example, my mum has diabetes, my grandmother had diabetes. Guess what? I'm gonna get it. God forbid. But if I do not put in the work to eat well, to exercise, to maintain healthy blood sugar, then I'm just doing myself a disservice. I might have a higher propensity because of my cultural and food, the kind of things that we eat,
Yes.
high in carbs, all that stuff. But it doesn't mean that I now have to get it because my so-called genetics. It would be very lazy and very neglectful, I think, to not think that you can have the power to make changes in your own internal body. Like it's your body, right? You have the power to do what you need to do. So yeah.
Let's say you're on Instagram for a week and you've posted a video every day. How many times would you just get someone coming under your comments and just putting genetics?
At least once a day, if not
Okay.
twice. It's very common. I used to be angry at them, but I give them grace. I'm older now. I leave it. I just leave it because
So for me, I'm not angry at them because number one, they've been conditioned. Either they can't figure out how to care for their hair, or no one in their immediate circle or no one that they know has long hair, whenever I talk about it, I always make the distinction between between hair growth and length retention. Your
Yes.
hair is always growing. I'm aware of all of the other circumstances, but your hair is always growing. Length retention is what most people are after. But
Mm.
whenever someone comes under my comments and just says genetics, that one word, for someone like you or myself or Code Black, I can name 10 other women, Black women who have long hair. You
Mm.
completely dismiss the time and effort that I put into my hair.
This is it.
So I just wanted to, and if we need to expand, we can, but all I'm going to say when it comes to the genetics thing is it solely genetics? And the other thing is that I have never said that it's solely genetics. I never said that. What I said is it solely genetics, or is it the end all be all, or is it bad hair care practices that we have passed down from generation to generation?
I think it's definitely bad hair care practices, but it's also something that I've been getting into, especially having children now and understanding the female body. If we don't look after our body in its
Yes.
entirety, hair loss is a result. Because I think that the issue that people are having is they may actually be doing great things, detangling well, but their hair is breaking off because perhaps they're iron deficient or their hormones are totally out of whack. Hair loss is a symptom. It's even been since the Bible times. Like I had to go and read my Bible on this because did you know? No, for real, because I was getting annoyed. I'm like, I wanted to just kind of understand hair deeper than products. And that was kind of the journey I went on last year. And I went to my Bible. And did you know that even when they were diagnosing leprosy, guess what they did? They looked at their hair, and that was an indication as to whether someone had leprosy or not. And that's something that we should still be doing today. If someone's edges are thinning, why is that? It is a sign of something happening internally. So yeah, I've been spending a good year or so just researching beyond products because I mean I'll talk about it a bit more because yeah, I think genetics is very lazy. We need to do the work. And I think especially as Black women, we need to make sure we're actually paying attention to our bodies because the way in which, beauty products and all that kind of stuff has been marketed to us, it's been marketed to us, or I don't want to say it's not for good things, let's just say. Not for good things. They're not concerned about our health and the fact that we're Black and we most likely are vitamin D deficient. And vitamin D has a crucial role in not only hair growth, but your immune system, your gut, everything. So yeah, I could talk about this for ages, but yeah.
You can, because the genetics conversation, and like I said, I'm at the point now, I don't respond, but I just give the person grace
Mm.
because I know on Monday, my wash day, which is a wash day, it's going to take hours because I'm on a Shebe journey. And then 2 days or 5 days later on Friday, I'm going to sit in my bathroom for 2 hours and reapply my Shebe.
Mm.
So I give people grace. But to what you were saying about holistic and caring for the body in its entirety. I was on an assignment by trade, or I guess you could say by career. I contract myself out to do insurance claims. I had a colleague where she took her entire family to a holistic doctor, and they had just had a traumatic loss in their family, and she wanted to make sure that her daughter was okay. Do you know that the holistic doctor took samples of the daughter's hair and looked
Mhm.
at the hair and could tell that the child had been through trauma? So
Wow.
take that trauma, although she's caring for her daughter's hair and she's doing everything right, that trauma probably has a more profound effect than the actual products. Just like what you were hinting
Yes,
to.
yes. Stress. I'm telling you now, you can eat clean, you can sleep for 20 hours in a day. But if someone is stressed, it's almost asking for immediate alopecia because that's just a trauma response. When your body's in that flight or flight mode, it's not thinking about hair growth. It's literally thinking about keeping your body alive, thinking about impeding threat. So stress, and again, with Black women, we like to hold the whole world on our backs. But
Yes.
stress is also another factor and speaks to that whole wellness piece because it's so important. And a lot of people just don't realize how significant it is. And they will continue to stay in that kind of toxic stress cycle and then just assume that it's because of their genetics. But perhaps they've kind of genetically taken up a toxic level of dealing with stress generationally, and then assume that the lack of hair growth is because of genetics, but it's not. It's just the traits that you may have picked up through your family in handling stress and all that kind of stuff.
We both could talk about this all day. I already know what types of comments there are going to be, but we both see eye to eye. So let's go ahead and move on. Earlier, I
Yeah.
heard you say that you are a mother. How many children do
Yes.
you have, and what are the sexes?
I have two, a boy and a girl, 2 and 4. So I just about escaped 2 under 2. They're 2 years, 2 months apart. So yes, I've got two lovely
Okay.
girls. Yeah.
So, starting with your daughter, because we talked about the experience with your mother, I'm assuming that your daughter is natural.
Yes,
Of
I
course,
hope
right.
so.
Are you being intentional when you are raising her when it comes to her hair, and how are you doing that?
I love that question because I'm being the mother I wish I had in terms of natural hair. Like, obviously, my mum did a great job, but I think just having the representation of having natural hair on a daily basis, like, it's very rare that I'll get like braids. That's mainly for vacation or holidays, but 99% of the time she sees me, look at how I am. So that's number one. Second of all, because she's 4 now, so she's becoming a bit more wiser and understanding the world.
Yes,
There will be certain comments that she will make, like, Mom, I want my hair to kind of flow like this. And I'm like, who told you that? Why does your hair need to flow? So I will literally challenge her when I kind of notice that perhaps someone has said something about her hair and she doesn't really understand or she feels uncomfortable. I will challenge it right then and there and say, oh no, Kadara, do you know that your hair is absolutely beautiful, just like
yes,
mummy?
yes.
Do you know that your hair is so unique that no one
The
has hair
fact,
like you?
yes, but the fact that you are challenging her, I think that's where a lot of mothers, and this is not a knock to how people are raising their children, but you have to challenge it. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to sit down and you have to have a conversation about it. You cannot brush it off because she is
100%.
going to grow up and she's going to consistently, or she's going to grow up thinking that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you challenge her and that you have a conversation about
Yeah.
it. That I think sometimes that is the missing piece. You can't brush off what your children are saying to you. She's 4, but they notice everything. They
Girl,
notice everything and they are sponges. Now, your
lit.
son, I was having a conversation with another young lady who was talking about the fact that there are Black men out there who will not date women who are natural, who don't find it desirable, who don't like it. And then even some of them are rocking natural styles themselves.
Well, damn, this is news to me.
Right. So when it comes to your son, are you having the same conversations? Are you being just as intentional?
I mean, now that you've mentioned it, I will do because that's crazy to me. But again, he is 2. I
You did
barely
say
get
that,
him to
yes.
sit still, but most definitely because I think it's so important. Like, I think what you mentioned as well about, men preferring certain textures for whatever reason, I feel like that comes from a place of not necessarily trauma, but perhaps they have relationships with people with that kind of hair type that have made them feel some type of way or had made an association with a dislike for a whole entire hair type. That's something I'm going to take on board if I'm honest with you, because I haven't yet had the conversation. I was just assuming that me having my hair out, he would dislike it, but it's actually true. He could be like, "Yo, when you shout at me, mommy, it makes me hate natural hair." So I'm going to have to be intentional about that. But then again, he is too. We're
He
getting
is
him
too.
to be potty trained.
And that is important. But the reason why I was bringing up your son as well is because I did a video and there was a woman who talked about or made a comment talking about she's natural and she has a daughter and she's been very intentional with her daughter. But she didn't realize that in that area, she may be lacking with her son a little bit. She said that she picked up her son. This was elementary school now. Like I said, children are very aware. She picked up her son and he got in the car and he told her, Mommy, don't ever come to school with your hair like that again. I was embarrassed. So she went home and they had a conversation.
Wouldn't be my son. I think I would have to go back to Nigeria and discipline if I disciplined him in this country.
But she didn't realize because she was so focused on her daughter that she didn't even think about her son. And if she doesn't address that now, her
Mm,
son is going to grow up with that mindset. And when he starts dating,
yeah.
he's going to be
Wow.
looking for a certain aesthetic. He's going to be looking for a certain hair type.
That is crazy.
And the fact that my thing is the fact that he was so comfortable telling her that's
That's crazy.
that's a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes,
Could
that's
be
a
me,
lot.
girl. I would have dressed. I don't want to say anyway. Could be me, girl. But no, yeah, I would definitely take that on board because, yeah, that's something that we forget, especially when we're raising young men to actually appreciate all hair types and textures
Yes,
and not to discriminate because all hair is beautiful. Even just, like straight
exactly.
hair, it's also beautiful. It's just not the only standard of beauty.
I like that. That's not the only style of beauty. Standard of beauty.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have, because I've been just looking at your content, which I love, by the way. So far
Okay.
this year, you have been on 2 panels, and I noticed, and I'm pretty sure that was intentional, you showed up with your hair just the way that it is. It wasn't in braids, it wasn't up, it wasn't put away, it was out. Is it
Yeah.
important to you in certain spaces or just in spaces in general to show up with your hair in its natural state? And if so, why is that important?
Like as I said before, like one of the key reasons I went natural is because I saw someone else with natural hair in a environment in which I didn't think most people would have it. So it's important for me not only to be a walking advert for Ominera Naturals, but to also embrace my hair in all capacities because I think I've been in this game for too long to kind of like hide my hair. Like it's very boring to me because it's the question isn't why have I worn my hair? It's why not? Why
Hmm,
wouldn't I? Why would I need to cover it? Is it not my hair? Do I not love it?
I like
So
that.
I don't even think twice about, I think the bigger the better, the more voluminous. It's going to get people to notice me. I'm going to be the odd one in the room, and that always brings attention, which I don't mind. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for me.
Because I was having a conversation with another guest, and she said kind of the same thing. She said, show up as the example that you want to see more of.
Yeah.
But she also said, I think sometimes we underestimate the power that we have of showing up even when we are uncomfortable. Do it anyway. So do
Mm.
you think when it comes, because you're a CEO of a company and we're going to get into that, do you think that you showing up in those spaces on the internet, do you think that it's giving license or permission to for another CEO or just another person who looks at your content to show up to that board meeting with your natural hair or to just show up to school, to a cookout, to a graduation ceremony, or to a
Mm.
pivotal moment in their life, their wedding? Do you think that that is helping other people when you do it?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think again, the mind, your words are so powerful, right? So if you can't envision someone in that scenario in which you want to represent yourself in its fullest capacity, how will you know how to do it? So for me, it's like by doing it, it's giving people the understanding that yes, it is possible because they've seen me do it and I look good, I'd like to think.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. So yeah, I think it definitely gives people licenses because yeah, if they don't see it, they don't believe it's possible, and then they have that cycle of, like I can't complain that, there's loads of people who have wigs and weaves and all that kind of stuff, which is not a bad thing. People can do whatever they want with their God-given hair. It's between them and God. But I would be doing myself a disservice. Like I feel like I have to represent. I'm almost carrying the natural hair community when I go out because I want to make sure that it's normal. Like even when my hair is looking crazy, girl, I'm still going out. You will see my hair. I'll put a head scarf, head wrapper. I can't tie it as well as you can, girl, but I'm gonna do something.
Trust me, you have to practice because when I first started, I looked crazy as well. You have to set a time, you have to set aside some.
I will do. I will do. Yeah, I go like because for me, it's not a case of, oh, I'm gonna wear my hair like it's an accessory. It's literally a part of me. It grows for my body. So I don't think twice about showing up in all seasons, whether my hair is looking crazy, even going on a holiday with my hair, all that stuff. Like I don't separate myself from my hair. Like it's not a thing where, oh, I have an event, so therefore I've got to get my dress, my nails, and then I've got to apply something. No, no, no. We're going with our hair. That's it.
I love
But I
that.
think
I love
it's
that.
taken the years to get to a point of confidence and also seeing other people do it so that it inspires me to do it even more.
So you've put in the work.
Yeah.
So, Jeanette, you are the CEO of Ominera Naturals, and you also have a degree in biochemistry. Talk a little bit about that. Is the reason why you got your biochemistry degree so that you could start your own natural hair care company?
Short answer, most definitely not. When I was studying biochemistry, if you told me that I would be doing this, I would have laughed you out the room. I had not even the smallest intention to pursue a career in hair, let alone having my own hair care line. This all happened by the grace of God. So yeah, I studied biochemistry just because truthfully, I wanted to get into medicine, but my grades, I didn't really do that well in well, I didn't not do well, but to get into medicine, you need to do significantly well. And the school that I went to, I didn't like it. People were very rude and racist, so I didn't really want to even go to school. So for the fact that I
Mhm.
even did well enough to get into a good university was the grace of God, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I studied biochemistry, and then a lot of people went on to further study to like do masters or PhD, but I said, God forbid, not now anyway. I was so done with studying. I hated doing exams. I mean, I did well. I passed with a 2-1. I don't know what that translates to. But yeah, I did biochem. Oh yeah, I did biochemistry. So let's look at the timeline. So I graduated in 2016 and I started Ominira in 2020. So that's 4 years of just soul searching. I basically went into the corporate world as a corporate girl girly, and for a good four or 5 years, I worked at Lloyd's Banking Group, which is one of the biggest banks in the UK, working in the corporate team. And yeah, it was great, but I just knew that this wasn't it for me. And in 2020, in fact, I'll backtrack to 2019. So I got married in 2019, and I think I had maybe like 12,000 YouTube subscribers at the time. And my husband was just like to me, like, Janet, like, you are making all these DIYs on YouTube, you're doing reviews of other products, and people are even asking for your DIYs. Why not just start selling your own? And I was like, well, damn, that would be wise, right? But I did, I did not have the confidence, to even start anything. But he really encouraged me. That's why it's really important to marry well, guys. Marry well.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, he just really encouraged me. So by 2020, we launched, and I also conceived my first child, Kadara, my girl, all at the
I
same
love that
time. So
name. Does that mean something? So you are Yoruba. Does that mean something in Yoruba?
yes, 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 Yoruba. It means destiny.
I love that.
Yes. I think it also has a little bit of Arabic traditions. So like Kadar in Arabic also means destiny. So yeah, it's a one of a kind name. So if anyone calls their child Kadara, we know where you got it first. So yeah, so I literally conceived my daughter, and the plan was I just did not want to go back to working in the normal corporate world because with motherhood, you already know the demands. And luckily back then, it was, so I got pregnant in 2020 and then gave birth in 2021, and they were kind of like transitioning to like go back to the office. So in my head, I actually planned to go back to the office, but I thought it was going to be completely remote. But they said, girl, you need to come back to the office 3 days a week. And I said, I can't. So that was the real reason I just left the job. And at that point, I don't even think I was making enough for my salary. Like the sales from Ominira weren't making enough for my salary. But I just said, you know what? If I put all of my effort and work these 3 days from home, then we're gonna have to make it work. So that was the plan.
And here you are today. So I see them behind you. Tell us a couple of your favorite products.
I think my favorite definitely has to be the Tangle Slayer. Let me just grab it actually.
Yes,
This is one
please.
of our best sellers. Because the kind of way in which I, created this brand is I wanted not just to create products, I wanted to create solutions. Because with Afro hair, people always are concerned about the problems. So I'm here to offer girls solutions so that they don't have to struggle with their natural hair journey. And one of the biggest struggles we have with natural hair is detangling. So
Yes.
yeah, so this is
Yes.
why the Tangle Slayer. And this is one of the major causes of breakage. So
Yes.
love, love, love. One of our best sellers. It literally makes your hair feel like silk, and you might even think you got a relaxer. So I think definitely the Tangle Slayer. And I would say this mask. Yeah. I don't have all the products here because sometimes I run out.
I
I
see
run out of
herbal.
products. Yeah,
I see
herbal silk.
herbal. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This has got, I think, about 14 different herbs and some silk amino acids. So this bad boy here is just chef's kiss when it comes to repairing, damaged hair, giving it some life, or especially if you're high porosity or you use a lot of heat on your hair, the added protein in this is going to help your hair not only be strengthened, but it's also still very moisturizing, because I know a lot of people complain with, protein, like ingredients making the hair more stiff, but this has a double whammy of having protein, but also being very moisturizing. And I use this. But I think these would probably be my top two. Yeah, definitely top two. It's very hard to pick, but I would say top two.
There is a young woman, a little girl, or a grown woman sitting in their bathroom right now, wanting to go natural, thinking about it, not confident in it. What advice do you have for them?
I would definitely say take it slow. I think a lot of people, especially in the natural hair community, are obsessed with getting 10 inches in 10 days. Whilst that's not humanely possible, it's also very scary. But just take it slow, because this is a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Think about how many years you've not been natural, or perhaps not loving your hair. It's going to take at least a portion of that for you to learn your hair. And it's okay to take your time. It doesn't have to happen overnight. You don't need 6 inches in 10 days. Take it slow. Take the time to learn to love your hair, because I think that's the foundation for hair growth and length retention. Learn to love your hair, because what you love, you won't manipulate it. You won't make it look a certain type of way or another standard of beauty. You're going to just learn what it is and then create a routine that works for you, because every hair type is very different, very unique, and hair changes throughout the years. Your hair when you're 15, it's not going to be the same hair you have when you're 30, but that's life. It's a journey. So I would say take your time to learn your hair, to love your hair, to realize its true beauty, and realize that it actually deserves that TLC. Because I think a lot of people complain about natural hair being so long and all that kind of stuff. But if you can't just take 1 hour of self-care at least every week or every other week, then I would question your lifestyle. It should be normal to take out a chunk of your time to look after yourself, just like you'd have your shower or you'd brush your teeth. It's not a chore. It's just part of our lifestyle. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I like that you say that, because I was having a conversation with another naturalista, and what she said was, I'm trying to make sure I'm going to paraphrase, but basically what she said is that natural hair is not a burden, it's just an adjustment. And you're not going to be adjusting forever once you
Mm.
learn what works and once you learn your hair. Let's get into some fun stuff before we end our conversation. I kind of like do a rapid fire. So what is your favorite hairstyle?
Probably say this one here. So it's kind of like a half up, half down. These two curls that I've kind of, I don't know how they're still surviving at the end of the day, but definitely a half up, half down, because I'm trying to like be a little bit like business in the front, party in the back kind of thing. Yeah. I think definitely half up, half down with a little bit of something to kind of like frame my face. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. You have 2 seconds to get out of the house. What hairstyle are you going to? Is it going to be this one?
Most definitely not. It's going to be a low bun. Low
Low
bun or
bun.
nothing. Low bun or
Low
nothing.
bun. Okay. Outside of your company, what are your holy grails, or what are your favorite products right now?
You're not gonna like me, because I cannot lie to you. I have not used any. No, actually, before like formulating my own, I used to love. I think it was called the Giovanni Direct Leave-In. The slip
I've heard of
on
that.
that, yeah, the slip on that is crazy. So I think probably that. Yes, yes,
That's going to
yeah,
be, that's
yeah.
fine if you haven't used anything
I
else.
cannot
That just
remember.
means that you love your products, and that's good. Okay. So when you do have a product, what is one ingredient? It's your holy grail. Whatever product you use, it has to have it.
It's really hard. I think because I'm low porosity, it has to have some form of a humectant. So like glycerin or honey or even like flaxseed. So yeah, I think honey. I'll go with honey. Let's play it safe, honey.
What is one hairstyle that you cannot get down? You cannot get down packed. For me, it's a wash and go. We are not friends. What's yours?
I think it's also a wash and go, but as you were saying that, I was also thinking of, like doing, I think you call it flexi rods or bendy rollers on wet hair. It never works. Every time I try, it my hair says no. How dare you? I can only do it on like dry hair, but I can never do it on like wet hair. And first of all, I like to sleep. I'm a mother of two, okay? My sleep is very precious. I'm not taking out my sleeping hours to be uncomfortable with the head full of Medusa looking things in my so yeah, wash and go. I gave that up. I gave it up. When I saw my hair shrinking the way I said it's not for me. What did they say to him today?
What is your number one hair care tip when it comes to natural hair?
You're really playing me. Only one? Oh, okay.
Two?
Okay.
Can you do two?
Okay, we'll do two. Learn your hair porosity because that's
Yes.
going to help you understand what are the best kind of products for your hair type and learn how to detangle your hair without combs. Learn how to detangle your hair because I think that is one of the most major mindset shifts you have to get through when you become natural that you can't just detangle your hair in one swipe. It's gonna take time. And I think that's one of the major stumbling blocks that people get to when they start their journey. They're just like, what is this? Why is it taking 3 hours? Excuse me? Yeah.
I've been finger detangling for a year and some change now. I love it.
Mm.
I love it because it actually gives me a chance to get to know my hair and to just sit there and to just be with my hair. So I love that tip. Are you solely finger detangling or are you like 50-50? What do you normally do?
Mainly finger detangle. I only really use a brush or a comb if I need to blow out my hair. That's the only real time I use it. But yeah, besides that, fingers, because that comb, girl, nah, not for me. Not with this kind of hair. Definitely not.
And what did you call it? 4N for Nigerian? Is that what you called
And
it?
yeah, 4N. Yeah, that's what I am. When people try to cuss me out for that, they're like, "There's no such thing as 4N. You're 3C." I'm like, okay, well, I'm still 4N. Fight me. I literally am sarcastic about 50% of the time.
We are coming to the end of our conversation, Jeanette. Thank you so much for having this conversation and just being open and honest. All of your information will be down below, but if you could just let people know what's coming up for you and what's coming up for your company and where they can find you.
Great. So I'm Jeanette Davies, the founder of Ominera Naturals, which is the one-stop shop for hair growth. We are the ultimate hair growth experience. We offer not only just hair products, but tools, knowledge, and information. So definitely check us out at ominiranaturals.com to get started with your natural hair growth journey. And also, we do have an event in the US coming very soon in July. So if you're in New York, definitely go on to the ominiranaturals.com website where we have a wait list and we will give you more information as time unfolds. So yes, really excited about that because I haven't been to the US before and yeah, I want to be able to meet loads of people.
That is wonderful. Now, I'm in North Carolina, but
That's the East Coast, right? But like further
yes,
down. Okay, yeah.
yes, further down. Yes, same place. I wish I could go, but when is it?
July 12th.
I know it's going to be wonderful. And like I said before, all of your company's information will be down below. Your information will be down below. And I will see y'all next time. And thank you so much for being here. Bye.
Thank you.